So your thoughts on what's been reporting of Team Huddle and the Signal chat that the New York Times says took place between you, your wife, and your brother and some others?
So, Brian, if you remember when this all started, the first go-around, because this is the second go-around, right? They peddle old stuff, they kick it back up. I said repeatedly, no one's texting war plans. You know why I said that? Because I'm in the bowels of the Pentagon every single day. Just 10 minutes ago, I was looking at actual war plans of things that were ongoing or pending things to happen, because that's on a regular basis on classified systems. That's my job for the war fighters, for the President of the United States. I look at war plans every single day. What was shared over Signal then and now, however you characterize it, was informal, unclassified coordinations for media coordination and other things. That's what I've said from the beginning. At the beginning, it was left-wing reporters from The Atlantic who got a hold of it and then wanted to create a problem for the president. This is what it's all about, trying to get at President Trump and his agenda.
The White House is looking to replace Pete Hegseth as defense secretary after it's been reported that he shared details of United States military operations with a second Signal messaging group, this time including his wife, his brother, and his lawyer. This is after many Democrats and even some Republicans questioned Hegseth's ability to do this job based on a lack of prior experience. And what Hegseth is doing is he's proving all of those people exactly right. And before we look at all the recent developments, please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, share with someone who's into politics, and comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. So let's head on over to NBC News, where it says here, info Hegseth shared with wife and brother came from top generals' secure messages. Hegseth has denied the information he shared was classified, but it was given to him on a system for sensitive and classified information. Minutes before U.S. fighter jets took off to begin strikes against Iranian-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen last month, Army General Michael Eric Kurilla, who leads U.S. Central Command, used a secure U.S. government system to send detailed information about the operation to Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. The material Kurilla included details about when U.S. fighters would take off and when they would hit their targets, details that could, if they fell into the wrong hands, put the pilots of those fighters in grave danger. But he was doing exactly what he was supposed to do, providing Hegseth, his superior, with information he needed to know and using a system specifically designed to safely transmit sensitive and classified information. But then Hegseth used his personal phone to send some of the same information Kurilla had given him to at least 2 group text chats on the Signal messaging app, 3 U.S. officials with direct knowledge of the exchanges told NBC News. The sequence of events, which had not been previously reported, could raise new questions about Hegseth's handling of the information, which he and the government have denied was classified. In all, according to the 2 sources, less than 10 minutes elapsed between Kurilla's giving Hegseth the information and Hegseth sending it to the 2 group chats, one of which included other cabinet-level officials and their designees, and inadvertently the editor of The Atlantic magazine. The other group included Hegseth's wife, his brother, his attorney, and some of his aides. So Hegseth's first reaction when receiving classified information on a system designed for classified information was to take that information and send it to people who definitely should not be seeing that information using his personal cell phone, using a private messaging app. What in the world? Could you imagine if this was a Democrat that did this? The uproar that would be heard far and wide in the GOP from Republicans across this country, talking about how amateur that is. I mean, look no further than how much they complained about Hillary Clinton's apparent mishandling of information on her private email server for years and years and years. They banged on about that. And what this is indicating is that Donald Trump, his decision making is extremely hampered by his short-sightedness, by his impulsiveness, and by his egotistical driven process of how he decides who he's going to pick to have certain jobs. And what we have here is a case where this Hegseth guy was on Fox and Friends blowing sunshine up Trump's you-know-what constantly 5 days a week, and Trump watched him. And that's why Trump ultimately decided this was the guy for the job, just because of how much he talked him up. But what's being shown here is that there's real world consequences for basing who's going to be the defense secretary off of who's talked the best about me. A Republican representative, in fact, has already spoken out against Hegseth, questioning his fitness to lead Pentagon. Bacon questions Hegseth's fitness to lead Pentagon. I wouldn't tolerate it. Representative Don Bacon, Republican from Nebraska, stopped just short of calling on Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth to be removed Monday following a new report that alleges the secretary shared detailed military plans in a group chat that included his wife, brother, and personal lawyer. If it's true that he had another signal chat with his family about the missions against the Houthis, it's totally unacceptable, Bacon told Politico, adding, "I'm not in the White House, and I'm not going to tell the White House how to manage this, but I find it unacceptable, and I wouldn't tolerate it if I was in charge." So the first time around in Donald Trump's administration, there was constant firings. It was like a revolving door in terms of Trump's White House. But what we saw there was that there was a rift between people who were super duper loyal to MAGA and Republicans who were a bit more traditional Republicans, not fully on the MAGA train yet. And there was divisions between these two groups. But now what we're seeing is a MAGA-made man in Pete Hegseth who is receiving blowback from at least one lawmaker. And we'll have to see if there's more lawmakers that come out saying that Hegseth is not fit for the job. But it's almost like, like hiring a Fox and Friends co-host with no prior experience whatsoever for this job to be appointed to one of the most consequential, most important jobs in the whole world. Maybe, just maybe, we should get somebody with a little bit more experience in there. And you know that Trump and company are going to fight tooth and nail in terms of replacing him, because what we're replacing him would mean is that Trump got it wrong, right? Trump got it wrong in this case of choosing Hegseth. And we know that that's not something that anyone in the right in this country is very ready and willing to admit. But it may just be that if this continues, if Hegseth somehow is able to survive this scandal, how long is it until something else pops up that Hegseth mishandled because of his lack of experience and his lack of knowing what the heck he's doing in this job? And apparently Hegseth didn't know that you're not supposed to just receive information on a private military server and then just 10 minutes later take that information and send it on over in a totally different app that is not secure. Yeah, that's not what you're supposed to be doing as defense secretary. And this behavior will certainly, if it continues, will certainly put United States troops' lives on the line. And God forbid, may even end up getting some people killed, as it was laid out there, that Hegseth is sharing details that if somebody was to get a hold of them that wanted to do harm to the United States, they very well could, just based on how detailed the information is that Hegseth is sharing in these improper channels with people who were never supposed to see this information. So that's all I got for you guys in this one. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like the video and take care.